Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. On the behalf of the Islamabad Police Institute, I formally welcome you all to today's webinar titled Dynamics of Muslim World and Future of Palestine, Time to Fight Back. Today's event is taking place in the backdrop of the regional developments that are taking place in the Middle East and their impact on the global peace. The event will bring together perspectives from diplomacy and security to evaluate the future of the very issue. Speakers will make actionable recommendations for the government to follow. With this brief introduction, I would request Executive Director of IPI, Professor Sayyid Sajjad Bukhari Sahab, to deliver his welcome and introductory remark. Professor Sayyid Sajjad Bukhari is the founder of Islamabad Policy Institute, and he is currently heading IPI as its Executive Director. Over to you, sir.
Mr. Zahid Hafiz Chaudhry Sahib and other honorable panelists for today's webinar on Palestine conflict. I welcome you all on behalf of Islamabad Policy Institute's team. I wish to also welcome the guests who have joined us online to attend the proceeding of this webinar. Our panelists today would look at the different aspects of the conflict, including the impact of the Abrahamic Accords on the Palestinian struggle, President Biden's policy with regard to Palestine, the parallels between the struggles in Kashmir and Palestine for the right of self-determination. Mr. Chaudhry, meanwhile, explained to us the contour of Pakistani policy on Palestine, especially in the context of the recent developments in the Arab world. There is a natural and strong emotional attachment to the issue of Palestine, as well as a deep commitment to its just and peaceful settlement. The centrality of the cause of Al-Quds Al-Sharif for the whole Islamic Ummah should be clear to all. However, what we have seen over the years is a continued and unrelenting assault on the Palestinian right and identity by Israel with the help of the United States and its allies. Israel has all along disregarded the world's opinion about its illegal actions and operated with impunity because of the unflinching American support for its crime. This has aggravated the plights of the Palestinians, who are often confronted with the Israeli violence, systematic repression, dislocation, occupation of their land by the Zionists, and discrimination. The year 2020, as the United Nations Special Coordinator for Middle East Peace Process, in his report, reported was a year of setbacks for the Palestinians, their institutions, and their economy. Among other reasons, the recognition of Israel by the Arab states, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, Sudan, and Morocco, made Palestinians fear that the development would lead to further weakening of the Muslim support for their cause. They don't see an imminent end to their sufferings. The current situation has therefore left them with no option but to resist the occupation. Although the developments of the year 2020 are unlikely to be reversed, it is now time to think out. It is now time to think out of the box for resolving the long-standing dispute. The Palestinians should first and foremost initiate an internal dialogue among themselves to develop a new vision for their struggle, a vision that could energize their struggle while bringing together the different factions. There have been various episodes of Palestinian resistance, but a sustainable front is yet to be formed for which unity is crucial. Elections in Palestine, scheduled for May 22nd, could have helped formulate the needed united front, but their postponement by the Palestinian Authority on the pretext of uncertainty about the Israel allowing voting in the annexed East Jerusalem would further fuel misgivings in global and regional powers respectively. Therefore, the Palestinians should, instead of uselessly looking up to Washington, explore options with other influential countries. It is equally important that publics of the other countries keep pressure on their governments so that international solidarity for the cause could be maintained. I look forward to a fruitful discussion on the issue during this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I would like to invite our first honorable speaker for today's webinar, Mr. Zaid Hafiz Chaudhry, who is the Additional Secretary, Asia Pacific, and spokesperson at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to deliver his keynote address.
Assalamu alaikum
Please,
and
sir.
very good afternoon. Let me begin by complimenting the Islamabad Policy Institute, particularly Professor Syed Sajjad Bukhari, founder and executive director of IPI, for the quality research in important foreign policy areas. I wish to also thank IPI for providing me this opportunity to speak on an issue that is not only a priority for the government of Pakistan, but is also very close to the heart of every Pakistani. Pakistan's unflinching support to the people of Palestine is as old as the country itself. The government and the people of Pakistan have always stood by the Palestinian people in their just struggle for the right to self-determination. Pakistan was among the first countries to recognize the Palestinian statehood in 1988. Pakistan has sponsored, co-sponsored, or supported every resolution on Palestine at all international fora, including the United Nations and the OIC. Pakistan co-sponsored the UN General Assembly resolution upgrading Palestine to a non-member observer state of the United Nations in 2012. The issue of Palestine is important to Pakistan for multiple reasons. One, the issue represents one of the most important causes of the Muslim world, which actually led to the creation of OIC itself. Two, we have a principled stance on the people's right to self-determination, a fundamental right recognized as such by international law. Pakistan annually sponsors a resolution in the UN General Assembly on the people's right to self-determination. Three, the issue is also important from the human rights perspective. Pakistan has always espoused the need for protection of fundamental rights of the people in the occupied territories, be it Palestine, Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, or elsewhere. We are deeply concerned at the continuing egregious human rights violations in the Palestinian occupied territories. The Palestinian people have endured these violations now for over 7 decades. It is unfortunate that we have seen a surge in violations of the Palestinian people's rights during the holy month of Ramadan. But no amount of atrocities committed by the Israeli occupation force has weakened the indomitable courage of the Palestinian people or shaken their resolve. Let me now conclude by reiterating Pakistan's long-standing principled position on the Palestine issue. We steadfastly support the Palestinian people's inalienable right to self-determination. We believe that for just and lasting peace, it is imperative to have a two-state solution in accordance with the relevant UN and OIC resolutions, with the pre-1967 borders and Al-Quds Al-Sharif as the capital of a viable, independent, and contiguous Palestinian state. There has been and there is no change in Pakistan's principled position on this. Pakistan will continue to extend full support to the Palestinian people in their just struggle for the realization of their rights and for the establishment of an independent Palestinian state.
Thank you, sir, for your remarks. You have aptly told us that what is the Pakistan's position on the issue. And now we would move towards our other respectable speakers for today's webinar. I would like to introduce Dr. Talat Wizarat. She's the professor and international relation expert. She has taught at the University of Karachi and IBM. We also have in panel Dr. Sabir Abu Mariam. He's the General Secretary of Palestine Foundation. And we have Mobeen Jafarmir, who is our senior researcher at IPI. Now I would like to invite Dr. Talat Wizarat to speak on the issue. We don't have Dr. Talat Wizarat online. Instead of her, I would like to introduce, would like to invite Dr. Sabir Abu Mariam, General Secretary of Palestine Foundation, Pakistan, to speak on the issue. He can speak in Urdu or English either. That's up to him.
First of all, thank you all of the team, especially Mr. Bukhari and the Institute of Policy Studies, Islamabad, regarding to such organized online video conference on the great issue of the Muslim Ummah and humanity. I would like to speak in Urdu, but initially some words I would like to speak in English.
Okay.
Initially, we are surviving in this era where coronavirus has overshadowed everything. I don't discuss any conspiracy theory on the matter, but it is fact that the pandemic has overshadowed everything. We also see that the United States, Israel, and India have used this deadly virus and opportunity to divert world attention from their crime, especially in Palestine and in Kashmir as well as. So it is our prior duty. We must respond to their scheme. We must not forget core issue of oppressed humanity. We should highlight Palestine issue on humanitarian ground. Similarly, we should also highlight Kashmir issue. I appreciated the words of Mr. Hafiz Chaudhry, who spoke very well and review and discuss Pakistan's policies towards the Palestinian cause. जनाब अली, इस वक्त हम ये समझ रहे हैं कि मसला फ़लस्तीन जो दुनिया के इंसानियत और एक अहम तरीन और संगीन नौयत का मसला है, वो इस वक्त कोरोना वायरस की सूरत हाल की वजह से शदीद तरीन सर्वाइव कर रहा है और मुतासिर हो रहा है। हम देख रहे हैं कि एक तरफ फ़लस्तीन के अवाम वहाँ पर बदतरीन जुल्म और सितम का निशाना है और दूसरी तरफ इस वबा ने भी उनको घेर रखा है। ऐसी सूरत हाल में इस तरह की कोशिशें जो आज IPI ने की हैं या दूसरे इदारे पाकिस्तान में कर रहे हैं, हुकूमत पाकिस्तान अगर कोई इस तरह की काम कर रही है तो यकीनन ये बातें काबिल सताइश हैं और इनकी हम कदरदानी करते हैं। अब जहाँ तक मसला फ़लस्तीन की बात है और सेल्फ डिटर्मिनेशन के ऊपर हम बात करना चाहेंगे, तो इस हवाले से हमें देखना होगा कि एक बहुत लंबी तारीख है, आप तमाम अहबाब बखूबी उससे वाकिफ है कि किस तरह से बेलफोर डिक्लेरेशन, उससे पहले साइक्स-पीकोट और दीगर जो सारी एक कोशिशें और सहूलियों की चलती रही और फिर आलमी इस्तेमारी कुव्वतों की हिमा पर इसमें ब्रिटिश और अमेरिका और यूरोपीय ताकतें जिन्होंने फ़लस्तीन की ज़मीन को चुना और दुनिया भर से सहूनियों को लाकर वहाँ पर बसाना शुरू किया और ये कोशिश करते हुए उन्होंने 1948 में बिलाखिर इसको एक ऐसी रियासत को तश्कील दिया कि जो कानूनी नुक्ता नज़र से, जो इखलाकी नुक्ता नज़र से, जो सियासी नुक्ता नज़र से, हर लिहाज से एक गासिब और जाली रियासत। बहुत ही सादा अल्फाज में कि किसी के घर में कोई मेहमान आए या किसी के घर में कोई आ जाए थोड़ी देर के लिए और आने के बाद घर के बाशिंदों को निकाल बाहर फेंके, तो इसको उसकी मिल्कियत नहीं कहा जाएगा बल्कि एक गासिबाना और गैर कानूनी तसल्लुत करार दिया जाएगा। और यही कुछ हमारे फ़लस्तीन के साथ हुआ है। फ़लस्तीन जो हर लिहाज से एक इस्लामी, एक मुकद्दस तरीन ज़मीन है, उस पर इस तरह से कब्जा। और फिर देखें जो ह्यूमैनिटेरियन जब हम बात करते हैं ग्राउंड, तो आप देखें सबसे ज़्यादा लोगों को, 7 से 8 लाख लोगों को एक ही दिन में जबरी तौर पर जिलावतन किया गया है। ये फ़लस्तीन में हुआ है और ये गासिब सहूनियों ने किया है। 15 मई 1948 का दिन तारीख में स्याह तरीन तरीके से रकम है और यहीं से इस मसले की बुनियाद शुरू होती है। अब अगर इस मसले को सोल्यूशन करना है, हम ज़्यादा बातों में नहीं जाएंगे। जो एक रिवायती बातें होती हैं कि इसराइल की मजम्मत, अमेरिका की मजम्मत, ये तो है, बिल्कुल है, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है। लेकिन अब इसकी बुनियाद से हम आगे चलते हैं कि आप देखें कि जब एक तरफ इनको निकाला गया है, इनका हक गस्ब किया गया, यानी उनको उनके वतन से ही निकाल दिया गया। अब अगर मसला फ़लस्तीन का सोल्यूशन चाहिए और मसला फ़लस्तीन को हल करना है, तो ये देखें इसमें हमें दो बातें समझनी हैं। हमारे पाकिस्तान की खारजा पॉलिसी की सतह पर भी इसको समझना चाहिए और यकीनन हमारे जो काबिल दोस्त हैं, फाजिल दोस्त हैं, वो इसको जो वहाँ पर सर्व कर रहे हैं यकीनन समझते होंगे। लेकिन मैं तज़क्कुर के तौर पर यह करता हूँ कि ये मसला अमन कायम करने का नहीं है। मसला फ़लस्तीन अमन कायम करने का मसला नहीं है। मसला फ़लस्तीन एक मुनसिफाना हल की तलाश में है। मसला फ़लस्तीन नीड्स, पैलेस्टीनियन इशू नीड्स जस्टिस, नॉट पीस। अगर जस्टिस होगा तो पीस खुद ब खुद आएगा। तो पहला नुक्ता है कि हमें वहाँ पर मुनसिफाना हल तलाश करना है। और मुनसिफाना हल कैसे होगा? जब आप राइट ऑफ सेल्फ डिटर्मिनेशन की बात करेंगे, और यही फॉर्मूला हम कश्मीर के लिए रखते हैं। जब हम कश्मीर के लिए बात करते हैं तो वहां पर भी पीस का इशू नहीं है, वहां पर भी हम कहते हैं कि एक मुनसिफाना हल होना चाहिए जो कि इंसाफ पर मबनी हो, उसके बाद अमन तो खुद आएगा। अब जब राइट ऑफ सेल्फ डिटर्मिनेशन की बात है, उससे पहले हम ये समझते हैं कि मसला फ़लस्तीन को हल करने के लिए फ़लस्तीनियों की जो ख्वाहिश है, जो फ़लस्तीनियों की उमंग है, जो उनकी तर्जुमानी करती है, जो फ़लस्तीनी चाहते हैं, वही पूरी दुनिया के जो भी फ़लस्तीन कॉज को सपोर्ट करने वाले हैं, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान कायदे आज़म मोहम्मद अली जिन्ना फाउंडर ऑफ पाकिस्तान की पॉलिसी को टो करता है, उसको फॉलो करता है, उससे हट नहीं सकता। लिहाजा हम भी फ़लस्तीन कॉज के लिए वही बात करेंगे जो हमारे फ़लस्तीनी भाई चाहते हैं। अब फ़लस्तीनी क्या चाहते हैं? फ़लस्तीनी ये चाहते हैं कि उनको सबसे पहले राइट ऑफ रिटर्न दिया जाए। राइट ऑफ रिटर्न यानी जिनको घरों से आपने निकाल दिया था, जो घरों से बाहर फेंक दिए गए, जिनको जबरी तौर पे आपने दिला वतन किया, आज वो इजिप्ट में, जॉर्डन में, सीरिया में, लिबनान में और दुनिया के कुछ और ममालिक में रिफ्यूजीज की सूरत हाल में वो रहते हैं, उनको राइट ऑफ रिटर्न होना चाहिए। 3 नस्लें वहां पर जवान होती हैं। राइट ऑफ रिटर्न टू पैलेस्टाइन, ये वो राइट है जिसको यूनाइटेड नेशन भी रिकग्नाइज करता है, जिसको दुनिया का कोई कानून मुस्तरद नहीं कर सकता। कोविड पैंडेमिक से पहले हमने देखा कि 1.5 साल, पौने 2 साल तक फलस्तीनियों ने, आपने भी इसको मुताला किया होगा, आपके इंस्टीट्यूट ने भी इसको फॉलो किया होगा, कि राइट ऑफ रिटर्न मार्च, ग्रेट मार्च ऑफ रिटर्न के ऊपर एक तहरीक चल रही थी। फलस्तीनियों ने बहुत बड़ी एक तहरीक चलाई है। कोविड की वजह से वो मुतासिर हुई है, जिसमें ब्रेक आया है, लेकिन उनका बुनियादी मुतालबा यही है कि राइट ऑफ रिटर्न, जब आप फलस्तीनियों को हक के वापसी देंगे, जब फलस्तीनियों के पास ये हक होगा कि वो अपनी सरजमीन के ऊपर आए, अपने वतन में आए, अपने फलस्तीन में आए, और यहाँ आने के बाद हम ये मुतालबा करते हैं, हम ये बात रखते हैं यहाँ पर कि आलमी बिरादरी और ख़ास तौर पर अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा अगर वो चाहती है कि दुनिया के मसाइल को हल करे, तो फिर हक के वापसी की हिमायत करे और फलस्तीनियों को ये हक दिया जाए कि वो एक रेफरेंडम के जरिए, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल राइट ऑफ रिटर्न, देन राइट ऑफ सेल्फ डिटर्मिनेशन, ये दोनों कनेक्टेड। जब राइट ऑफ रिटर्न होगा, वो वापस आएंगे, वापस आने के बाद वो ये फैसला करेंगे कि फलस्तीन का रेफरेंडम हो, फलस्तीनी अवाम उसमें शरीक हो। हम हरगिज किसी भी मजहब के खिलाफ बात नहीं करते, किसी भी मजहब के दुश्मन नहीं है, किसी के भी हम नहीं चाहते कि उसको नुकसान हो, लेकिन हम इंसाफ का तकादा करते हैं। हम यही कहते हैं, जो फलस्तीनी कहते हैं, कि जो जिसकी सरजमीन है, जो जिसका वतन है, वो वहां चला जाए। अब 1948 से पहले आप देखिए, फलस्तीन में जो जो अवाम थे, जो लोग थे, वो कौन थे? उसके अंदर आपको यहूदी भी मिलते हैं, उसके अंदर आपको क्रिश्चियन भी मिलते हैं, वहां पर फलस्तीनी मुसलमान भी आपको मिलते हैं। ये और इसके अलावा दीगर छोटे मज़ाहिब और जो अक़ीदतें हैं, वो भी वहां पर जिंदगी बसर कर रही हैं 1948 से पहले। तो इसको हम कहते हैं, ये फलस्तीनी अरब है, फलस्तीनियन अरब। इसमें तीनों मज़ाहिब के लोग शामिल हैं। वो लोग इसमें हरगिज शामिल नहीं है कि जो 1948 के वक्त और उससे थोड़ा सा कबल और उसके फिर बाद मुसलसल माइग्रेट होकर यूरोप से और मुख्तलिफ जगहों से वो फलस्तीन के अंदर आते रहे, उनका इसमें कोई जो है वो जिक्र नहीं है। फलस्तीन बिलोंग्स टू पैलेस्टीनियन अरब्स, ये बहुत अहम नुकता है। अब जब 1948 की बात होती है, तो फिर यही फलस्तीनी उस फलस्तीन के मालिक हैं जो फलस्तीन में थे। अब जो यहूदी हैं, जो ईसाई हैं, जो मुसलमान हैं, वो वहां पर वापस आए, वो एक रेफरेंडम के जरिए इस बात का फैसला करें कि फलस्तीन में क्या हुकूमत होगी, और वही इस बात का हक रखते हैं कि अगर कोई 2 स्टेट सोल्यूशन की भी बात, रेफरेंडम इस बात की इजाजत देता है कि ठीक है, इसराइल भी रहे, फलस्तीन भी रहे, तो फिर पूरी दुनिया को इस रेफरेंडम की कदर करनी चाहिए, इसकी हिमायत करनी चाहिए। और अगर फलस्तीनियों का रेफरेंडम ये कहता है कि नहीं, सिर्फ फलस्तीन फलस्तीनियों का वतन है।
सर आपकी आवाज बंद हो गई है, वक्त भी हमारे पास कम है सर, अगर आप
जी बस मैं इसको क्लोज कर रहा हूँ 2 मिनट में। तो इसको ये हक उनका है। जब आप राइट ऑफ रिटर्न देंगे, फिर राइट ऑफ सेल्फ डिटर्मिनेशन उनके पास होगा, तो वो ये फैसला करेंगे कि फलस्तीन में रहे या इसराइल भी रहे। और अगर वो ये फैसला कर दें कि बाद में आने वालों को भी यहाँ पर रहने दिया जाए, और बाद में आने वालों को भी ये एतराज ना हो कि वो फलस्तीन के सिक्के के तले रहें, तो उनको भी रहने दिया जाए। ये एक मुनसिफाना और आदिलाना हल है। और इसमें आप देखें, मैं इस बात को बड़े वजाहत के साथ आपके इस तवज्जुह से कहता हूँ कि पाकिस्तान की आइडियोलॉजी में قائد اعظم محمد علی جناح کے افکار میں, قائد اعظم محمد علی جناح کی فلسطین پالیسی میں کہیں پر بھی 1967 کی سرحدوں کا ذکر نہیں ہے, اور یہ فلسطینیوں نے بھی اس کو مسترد کر دیا. فلسطینی بھی فلسطین کا مطالبہ کرتے ہیں, فلسطین نہر سے بحر تک, اور ہم بطور پاکستانی, بطور فالوور آف قائد اعظم محمد علی جناح, ہمارا بھی یہ فرض ہے اور ہماری حکومت کا بھی یہ فرض ہے کہ وہ فلسطین کے حوالے سے حکومت میں آخری بات کر رہا ہوں, حکومت کا بھی یہ فرض ہے کہ وہ فلسطینی عوام کی امنگوں کے مطابق اسی بات کو رکھے کہ فلسطین پورا فلسطینی ہوگا. یہ نہیں ہوگا کہ 1948 سے 67 تک کی باؤنڈریز اسرائیل کو دی جائیں گی اور 67 کی باؤنڈریز کے بعد فلسطین ہوگا. نہیں, فلسطین پورا فلسطینیوں کا ہے. ہم اس کی حمایت کریں گے اور اس کاز کی اسی سطح پر حمایت ہونی چاہیے. حکومت پاکستان کو بھی اس پر ریویو کرنا چاہیے, خارجہ امور کو دیکھنے والوں کو بھی اس کو اسٹڈی کرنا چاہیے. آخر میں آپ کے IPI کا محترم سجاد بخاری صاحب کا, جعفر بھائی اور اپنے سامعین کا, والی صاحب کا بھی شکر گزار ہوں اگر سنی ہے, اور انشاءاللہ امید کرتا ہوں کہ اس میں جو بات قابل استفادہ ہوں گے.
شکریہ سر, آپ کا بہت بہت شکریہ. You have been apt in your remarks and you have apprised us about the issue in a great way. Now I would like to move to our senior researcher at IPI, Mobeen Jafar Mir. Up to you, sir. You can commence your talk.
Thank you very much. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Thank you very much, Islamabad Policy Institute, for providing me this opportunity to speak on a very crucial issue that has great political, religious, legal, and geostrategic importance for the entire world. I am grateful to IPI Executive Director, Professor Sajjad Bukhari, Dr. Sabir Abu Maryam, Spokesperson, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Syed Hafiz Chaudhry Sahib, for his remarks. Unfortunately, Dr. Talat Wizar Sahiba was also supposed to come here and join us, but due to some technical issues, she could not make it through. Well, before going into the detail, I would prefer to say that everything about the historical perspective has been brilliantly explained by Dr. Sabir Abu Maryam Sahib. I would prefer not to go inside details again. And I would rather confine my lecture to what President Trump's policy has been towards the Palestine. Because when with the advent of President Joe Biden, it was expected that things will be very happy for the Palestinians. There was optimism in the air. But all hopes have been dashed to the ground, and all those happiness proved short-lived. Recent developments have made it clear that Joe Biden is least willing to sort out the Palestinian issue. And Joe Biden was the most experienced because he has served in the US Senate for decades, and then he has also served as vice president in the Obama administration and now as a president of the United States. But it was expected that he would play a significant role, but unfortunately, all those things, have not proved true. I would like to quote Yusuf Munayyer. He's a non-resident senior fellow at the Arab Center, Washington. He says the US is in an economic recession and dealing with the pandemic virus. Meanwhile, on the international stage, there are a host of other pressing issues created by the Trump administration that are crying out for attention. Those things are going to be at the top of the agenda for the Biden administration. So we can see a number of foreign policy decisions that Joe Biden has not yet taken. Suppose he has not appointed any special envoy for the solution of the Palestinian conflict. Although we have mostly seen that Donald Trump's policies were heavily tilted in favor of Israel, but although he was highly discriminatory against Palestinians, but he was a supporter of two-state solution for the Palestine. But Joe Biden has remained totally oblivious to that. He has not appointed any special envoy. Although on the other hand, Trump, Barack Obama, and George W. Bush and Bill Clinton, all previous presidents, they were very interested in solving the issues, and they had appointed special envoys to solve the Palestinian issue. And there is another issue that is going on is election controversies in Israel. Israel is going to host 5th election within 2 years of Spain. And there are no concerns shown by the Biden administration about that pathetic situation of democracy in Israel. Likewise, Palestine is going to host its first parliamentary elections in May, and this after 15 years, and then presidential elections in June. And Palestinians who are residing in Israeli territories, they are not allowed to cast their votes. And there are many legal restrictions imposed on them. Khalid El-Gindi, who is the director of the program on Palestine and Palestinian-Israel Affairs at Middle East Institute, says, the Biden administration is not setting itself up to the midwife of a Palestinian state. They are just not pursuing this with any degree of priority or urgency, or what could be required if you are going to push for a Palestinian state. So when Joe Biden became president, he faced many other issues which were the top priority of his administration, like his rivalry with China was intensified. And then he takes certain steps and immediate steps to revive Iran nuclear deal. And he was very quick in withdrawing his troops from Afghanistan. And he became more and more interested in the region, Indo-Pacific region. He became critical of Saudi Arabia. And although he started appointing special envoys in Yemen, even in Horn of Africa, to sort out these issues, but there was no attempt made towards the Palestinian crisis. There are several hindrances, I believe, which can play a negative role, because I came to know when I was studying that Benjamin Netanyahu, who is Prime Minister of Israel, and President Joe Biden, they share close intimacy with each other. When Joe Biden was vice president during Obama administration, although President Obama was a very staunch supporter of Iran nuclear deal, and he was also he was critical of Israeli settlements in the West Bank. But despite that, their friendship between Joe Biden and Benjamin Netanyahu remained stronger than ever. So I think still it would play a factor, I think, a negative factor in prolonging that issue without getting any solution in sight. And the other thing Biden administration is doing, although there were hopes that the way it was reversing many discriminatory policies adopted by Trump, it was also expected that he would also reverse Trump's policies towards Palestine. Like before Trump became president, they used to write the word Israel and the occupied territories. But what President Donald Trump did, he removed the name occupied territories, and instead he started using Israel, West Bank, and Gaza. And what Joe Biden has done, he has not done any practical step towards removing that word. He's continually using that word now. And as we all know, in September 2017, Palestinian officials had severed contacts with US administration. It was because Trump had announced that he would move embassy, High Commission of his embassy to Jerusalem. And it was a severe blow to the two-nation solution, because all the states in the world, they had long commitment to support two-state solution for Palestine. And Joe Biden used, when he was vice president, he used to support two-state solution as well. But this time he has not taken any significant step or any to reverse that Trump's decision. And we can also, as it becomes more clear that interest of Biden administration is more moved towards Indo-Pacific region. Like when he became president, the first person he invited was Japan's prime minister, and there was no invitation sent to other people from the region. And when it will withdraw its forces from Afghanistan, and there are also reports that it's going to withdraw its all forces from Syria as well, it's become more critical of Saudi Arabia and going to more interested in China. So it will automatically shift its tilt from Palestine. The more it will become oblivious, the more it will give carte blanche to Israel to wreak havoc on the already vulnerable Palestinians. And Joe Biden has already telephoned Palestinian president, but he has not yet, he has called Benjamin Netanyahu, but he has not talked to Mahmoud Abbas of Palestine. And it's also a signal that Joe Biden is also more interested towards pro-Israel discriminatory policies against the Palestinians. So there are many other steps already taken by or deliberately ignored by Joe Biden, which are in favor of Israel. Like as I already talked, there is no special envoy and everything. So I would like to say only one thing, that all the optimism that was generated by Joe Biden is short-lived, is hollow. There is no reality in it. It is just a smoke screen. Now I will conclude my presentation with comparing policies adopted by Donald Trump with the one followed by the Joe Biden. It was Donald Trump who discarded a Palestinian right to secure a full-fledged state of their own. Sam is going with Joe Biden. He is not reversing those decisions. It means that the two-state solution for Palestine is in jeopardy, and there is no lasting solution in sight. Israel was to gain a unified Jerusalem. It was not required to upfront any illegal settlements. So Sam is doing Joe Biden. In 2010, when Joe Biden was vice president, he visited Israel, and he was infuriated when he came to know that Israel was doing illegal settlements in the West Bank. But when he became president, and I think a few days ago, when he was about to take his oath as a president, Israel again had announced that it would make some settlements in the West Bank. He didn't take notice of that, and he overlooked the entire issue. And then the Great Deal of the Century, that was a notorious plan. We have already, there are a lot of material available online. You can read that, massive documents. That was highly in favor of Israel. All Palestinians, entire world had rejected that. But Joe Biden has not taken any direction to oppose that either. And I would like to conclude my presentation. Many people believe that OIC should play its role. I personally believe that OIC cannot play a practical role towards solution of Palestine, because many states like OIC is dominated by Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, and they were happy with the Great Deal of the Century, which was not in favor of Palestine. So I personally believe OIC would not be in that position to play any role that would be more likely acceptable to the Palestinians. And then I think China should play major role, because the more that region would remain fragile, it would create dangers for Chinese economic interests, because recently we have seen China has invested and make economic contracts and security deals with different countries in the region. So for its own sake, China should play a significant role. And as Bukhari Sahab has mentioned, that different publics in different states, they should pressurize their governments to play a role. So with this, I will conclude my my remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your well-researched material and all of the information with which you have informed us and the listeners. I think we don't have Dr. Saiba with us. We have? Actually, we were supposed to have Dr. Talat Wizar with us earlier, but for some reason, she has not been able to come to this event. With this, we would like to end the event. thank you very much to all the listeners and the participants who came to this event. Thank you very much.